Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 444, we're going to talk about Kethis. Do apologize how late it is. I'm still trying to hang on to this, doing a deck video every day, and I realize it's late in the day, but we're getting it out there. Kethis is white, black, green. That is, I do believe, Abzan. 3 mana for a 3/4. It's not bad in and of itself. It's 2 creature types that matter, but not to us in this deck. Your legendary spells cost 1 less to cast, and then this ability is it's a lot of work. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard until end of turn. Each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your yard. Now, originally, when I read this, it doesn't quite work the way I wanted it to, because in my mind, I was going to have Kethis, a Helm of Awakening, and Hope of Jirpur, and then just exile a couple legends and have the Hope in the graveyard and play it for free, sack it, play it for... It's just... When you exile those 2 cards, it's just the legendary cards in your yard at that moment. Any new legendary cards that enter the yard, you can't do that with. So I had to come up with something else, because I was going to have just tons of fun with that stuff, just looping, and it's a good thing that it doesn't work that way. However, I was looking around through Legendary, and I'm like, you know what? White, black, green. Well, first, let's get into the ramp for the... Of course, we have Rampant Growth, Sylvan Scrying, Harrow, Hour of Promise, because we still, regardless of what we're doing with the deck, we got to have lands to do it with. Veteran Explorer. Now, I know a lot of folks are really down on Veteran Explorer, but you know what? Yeah, it helps the whole table out. I don't have a problem with that. What's the worst that's going to happen? The game's over 2 turns quicker. Then we get to shuffle up and play more Magic. Fertilid. Fertilid is a very important creature in this deck. We don't have a whole lot of creatures in the deck, but this +1/+1 counter thing from Fertilid, we'll come back to that because that's awesome. Now, of course, we have Mana Geode, the Golgari Stone, Celestia Clue, Orzhov Clue, and of course the Abzan Banner. Now, so those cards I knew were going to be in there. And I said, you know what? It's been a while. I don't do it a lot. So we're going down the Super Friends route. I'll pause for a moment. Okay, yeah. If you're still watching, let's because I know the Super Friends decks are, ever since we got War of the Spark, everybody's doing them, and it's so done at this point. It's almost has the sliver feel, if you will. To run the 2 tutors, of course, only 2 O's. Now, there are no doubling season in this deck because, quite frankly, that card is ridiculous now. But here again, Oath of Johnny puts a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and your walkers cast 1 less. Now we are up to... Now, keep in mind, all Planeswalkers are now legendary, even retcon the old ones. So, if we get this and our commander, we're paying 2 less for our Planeswalkers. And then, of course, Oath of Nissa solves mana problems for Planeswalkers. So let's actually look at the Planeswalkers that we're running. We're going to run through these quick because y'all know what they do. We've got Kaya, Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, Vraska Scheming Gorgon. Now, some of these walkers are the Planeswalker deck ones, and while they are specifically intentionally underpowered and overcosted, for our purposes here, if we're automatically just knocking off 1 off the cost, well, that's not bad. And if we find other ways to do it quicker, They build these in decks to where they are, specifically, but they still have good abilities. So, Davriel, Karn, Obnixilis the Hate Twisted, Sorin Lord of Innistrad. I love this. Was the first card that I just absolutely stacked up emblems. I loved this card. This was probably the last time I played competitive Standard. Yeah. Gideon Blackblade, gotta have him. Teo, the Wanderer, Gideon Oathsworn. This puts +1/+1 counters on. Gideon Jura, Vraska Swarm Eminence, Ajani Valiant Protector. It puts +1/+1 counters. Ajani Strength of the Pride. Ajani the Great-Hearted. Now this one I really like, a 1/1 counter on each creature you control and a loyalty on each other planeswalker. So here we are again with the +1 counters. We have Vivian. 3 counters on up to 1 creature. Well, that Ferdlid, we're getting a ton of uses out of it now, right? And then, of course, that ultimate is, you don't play Planeswalkers for the ultimate, but when you get so many out there, people are just going to pick and choose which ones they have to murk. Yeah. Then, of course, Jang Yangu, which, we can't have him in there and not Mowu. It's just, they're part and parcel. They should be partner with, shouldn't they? I don't think that would be too over the top in, a Standard to have a Planeswalker. Yeah, it should have been partnered. Anyway, that many walkers. Of course, somebody's going to steal the Chain Veil off of Lily. Note, there's no lilies in the deck. I am currently building a Liliana theme deck with all the different Lilianas in it, and I'm pretty close, and that's where a good chunk of my Lilianas are going. So, beyond that, we've got 5 creatures. We have Mazarek. Player sacrifice another permanent. You get a +1 counter on each creature you control. Hey, +1 counters. We have Baird, just protecting our walkers, and he protects more than one. He can block one, but his half of a ghostly prison thing there is not bad. Rishkar, that's also not bad. I would like to tap Ferdlid for mana and use right. Grun. Yeah, and there's a good chance in this deck Grun will be attacking alone. And then, now all of those creatures were legendary. Ivory Tusk is not, but Ivory Tusk is pretty daggum neat. Untap all your creatures with 1/1 counters on it during each other player's untap step. So that's what we want to be doing, right? Now, we've got a few other legendary cards in here. Of course, Primeval's Glorious Rebirth, because let's face it, the Elder Spell exists, it's out there, and there are many other ways to just mass wipe the board of all walkers. Destroy all permanents does it. So there's that. We got some land fetching in the deck, so we might as well be playing with the Blackblade. Kamal's Druidic Vow. This is, whoa. Any number of land and or legendary permanents. So we're gonna, our concentration of legendary is pretty big. Then our last legendary card is Thran Temporal Gateway. Why not? Just start dropping walkers for the free. Now, before we get into the extra stuff here, let's look at our removal package. We are playing the removal colors, aren't we? I have Diabolic Edict. I really like it because of the interaction with Mazarek, obviously. Putrefy, Death Sprout. I swear this had to have been called Murder Growth, because it takes everything. I have to read the card not to call it Murder Growth. But Death Sprout is pretty close to the same thing. To Mortify, to Gideon's Sacrifice, Utter End, Abzan Charm, Yeah, I'm actually counting this as removal, even though it does. I mean, it hits everywhere we want to. It's going to draw us cards if we need to. It's going to distribute counters, which is something the deck's doing anyway, or it's going to exile target Bob. Right? I mean, let's face it. Then we got our board wipes. You know, Terminus, Extinguish All Hope, Planar Outburst, Fumigate, Winds of Wrath. Now the extra stuff here, I mean, I say extra stuff. Regrowth's just a good card. It's going to get something back. I can't believe I haven't actually put together Forever in a deck. I like it. It enters the battlefield. You put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 creatures. Hopefully Rishkar's out there, so they're all tapping for mana. Hopefully one of them is Fertilid, so you can just keep fetching lands out. I mean, it seems like a really good thing. And then you spend 1, choose target creature with counter on it. When it dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. So, provided we leave up enough mana, we could save our creatures, you know, because we don't have a whole lot of creatures. Of course, we got the Diabolic Tutor. Now, Zyndakar's Royal, I felt we needed to be in there because I needed to have some kind of force. Some kind of, you know, way to make creatures. And, you know, landfall equals 2/2 is kind of not a bad one. And these 2/2s, I mean, you can totally, you're putting counters on them, and hopefully, you know, you've got counters on all of them, because I'm going to try out this Leyline of Abundance. I mean, 8 mana is an awful lot, but you know what? Tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. Of course, every actual Rishkar deck is going to want this, or most Elf Tribal decks are going to want it, especially, you know, with mana doubling things. Yeah, it cuts it from 8 to down to 4 lands if you're mana doubling. So that's pretty sweet. Abzan Ascendancy enters the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter on your team, and then when your non-token creatures die, you get flyers out of the deal. Now, onto the part of the deck I am most hesitant about is the land base. This is a greedy land base. I'm not running very many basics. You can head on over to Architect, and which by the way, Architect is, I know I say it probably every other video or so, but in my opinion, the greatest deck listing site in the world. I love it. But I don't have a whole lot of basics in here. Here we go. I'm going to roll through these. Jungle Hollow, Corrosion Verge, Brushland, Stirring Wild Wind, Terramorphic Expanse, Orzhov Gate, Evo Wild, Transguild, Sandstep, Interplanar Beacon. I figure why not? You know, I mean, yeah, it's what, 15-20% of the deck it's good for, but I don't know. Gateway Plaza. You know, Murmuring Bosk, I feel like gets forgotten a lot. And check this out. Look at the land type. That's right, it's a forest. We can go and get this with Nature's Lore or anything that says get a forest. That's right. Now, sad days, I can't reveal a tree folk, but whatevs. It's a tri-land. It's a fetchable tri-land. Not that we run fetches, because, you know, that's, or I don't, because it's well, I think all 2 of my fetches y'all have seen in decks. Blossoming Sands. Let's push some of this air out. Rot Farm, Selesnya Gate, Golgari Gate, Forsaken Sanctuary, Scoured Barrens, Llanowar Waste, Tranquil Expanse, Temple of Silence, Temple of Malady, because, you know, M20, trying to push those M20. Well, I not really trying to push the M20, just trying to use the M20 that I've got. Because, I don't know, is it me, or how do y'all feel about, because maybe I'm going through what I call the core set blues. But played the pre-release, got my 2 boxes, because you can get your boxes at the pre-release, which, as much as we love it as players, I have to believe that's a mistake. I really do. So, played the pre-release, got my 2 boxes, and I'm pretty well done. I've bought a couple of, because a lot of the rares are just ridiculously cheap. So, I don't know if it's just because it was out online for so long beforehand. Not that I'm playing on Magic Online or on Arena, but I don't know. It may just be that it is in fact a core set, and we have been on a hype train forever. So, yeah. Actually, if y'all would like some sneak peeks into tomorrow, the next couple of days, check that out. That's what you think it is. This was a ton of fun, and that's questionable. But anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But I think right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.